That was a funny voice. All right, ready? All
Yeah.
right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another virtual session of this thing that we're doing. Three fellas listen. My name's Jack Jump. I'm just a guest here. I do not own this YouTube channel. There have been a lot of complaints complaints that I do own this this YouTube channel, and they don't like it. But good news is I don't own it. The owner is Liam Huser. Liam, how are we doing today?
Hey, I'm Liam Huser. My friends call me Lee. This is my YouTube channel. Welcome back to Three Fellas Listen. I'm happy to be doing this. Happy to be doing it with my good friend, my oldest friend, Jack Jump, one of my oldest friends. And then, of course, my baby brother, CPH. CPH, how the hell you doing?
Doing all right. That's all I got to say.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Well, a little disappointing. I was expecting more out of
I'm
you,
a little
but
disappointed in him as well.
okay, can we get into that a little
I'm a
bit?
disappointing guy. What can I say?
No, don't be so hard on yourself.
I'm just kidding.
CPH, is everything all right with you at home?
Yeah, of course. I live with my mom. We just got a new couch and chair.
That's
You better
exciting.
not be
That's really
eating messy
exciting,
food
actually.
on there.
I would never. I don't even wear dirty clothes on it.
Oh, very,
Wow.
very good. Now, was that requested
What
by
color?
mom?
What color is the couch?
I'd say a sort of maybe eggshell. And then
Oh, so
the
it's light.
chair is like a light brown. It's leather. My mom claims it's real leather.
Wow, that means it was expensive. So that means your mom is rich as shit.
That's what I'm thinking.
I like to hear that. I like hearing that.
Yep, me too.
Oh,
I like what
Colin,
you got going on with your hair right now, Jack. It looks good.
it does look good.
Thanks, man. I just
Did
got
you
out
get
of
a
the
haircut?
shower. I didn't actually know. I mean, I did
I feel like I
about a
remember
month
your
ago,
how much longer was your hair before though?
and at its peak.
It was
No,
like
like
down to the
Or
floor.
yeah, I had long hair
no,
back in the day.
no.
Before I don't know, longer, but not super long. It's probably like down to like
I just
way
feel
up
like
in my ears, maybe. I don't know.
last few times I've seen you was a decent bit longer. I could be wrong though.
I
Hey,
mean,
Colin.
I got one
It's looking
like a month ago.
professional. That's how I would describe it.
White collar.
Yeah.
Uh, More
So,
like
Colin,
I'd say,
why don't you
no,
tell
Liam,
them
I'm
what
not
album
done.
we're doing?
Yeah, we really are shooting the shit right now.
Oh
Yeah, you're
shit.
just shooting the shit about his hair.
I forgot that we're in the middle of a video. We're doing the album Low by David Bowie.
And that begs me the question, Colin, can a low come up in your crib?
No,
Oh, fair enough.
Can I?
no.
What if I say, may I come into your home?
Like, did you ring my doorbell first or did you knock? Oh
Yeah,
shit. I have
I,
stuff falling.
I knocked. I knocked, but I didn't tell you I was coming over.
Oh. Is Liam home?
No.
Is my mom home?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd let you.
Okay. That's good to know now. David Bowie, Low. Now, I knew this one pretty well before this. Matter of fact, I'm a pretty big David Bowie guy. At a certain point in time, he was probably my favorite artist. I listened to,
Wow, I did not know that.
yeah, I went through a big David Bowie phase a few years ago. I listened to everything from Space Oddity, the album, up until Let's Dance. So that was like from 69
Let's
to
dance.
83. So he had a pretty good run there. What do you guys know about David Bowie? Jack?
I don't know too much about David Bowie. He's always been one of those guys that, for some reason or another, I never really was as crazy about him as some other people were. I only really knew like the big songs from him and then a few deep cuts here and there. And I was never like super blown away by anything I'd heard. But he is one of those people in rock and roll that you kind of at least have to respect. And and I definitely give him his flowers and think that he's very good, but I think, or I guess I should say, I thought that he was a little overrated, and I never really necessarily got the hype.
Ooh. But hey, maybe his mind changed. That's the point of this
Maybe his
these
mind changed.
videos.
I'm not saying it did or it didn't.
Tom, what about you, man?
For me personally, I just know all the popular stuff, I'd say. I've never really gone and like deep dive any of his albums or anything like that. I know all the popular songs. I enjoy them all too. I like all the David Bowie songs I know, but so I'd heard nothing from this album prior to this
And is
video.
this what you would have expected from a David Bowie album, the first full album you've listened to from him?
Some yes, some no. That's what I'd say.
Jack, did you expect something like this, having known a bit about him?
I will say no, I didn't expect it, this album from him, but I don't necessarily know why I didn't expect it because he's made a career off being just kind of a weird dude.
Yeah,
So I
he's
don't know
kind
why
of
I didn't necessarily see it coming.
they called him like the chameleon of rock because he was constantly
Yeah.
adjusting. Like he went from, like the Ziggy Stardust glam era, and then he went to doing a bunch of like funk and R&B, and then he started doing this stuff, which is this is the first album in his Berlin trilogy. Beautiful city.
Oh, I get it
And
now.
yeah, and basically the story behind this is he was kind of really addicted to drugs. I don't know if you guys read the Ricky at all, but he,
I actually did not read anything on this, and I know nothing about David Bowie. I figured I would, for this one, my thought process was let me just listen to the music.
yeah. So I'll give you a little
Yeah, I kind of did
background
the
on
same
this.
thing. I read a little bit of the wiki,
Jack,
but
give me some
not a whole
virtual
lot.
knuckles. Nice.
So this is his 11th album. So, he's been
Damn.
around kicking it for a while. He's got a lot of albums, and he went and with his friend Iggy Pop, who I'm sure you both have heard of, punk rock legend. They were like, "Hey, look, we are really addicted to drugs right now. We need to get sober." So they decided they were going to move to Berlin and try to get their shit together. So what happened is Iggy Pop, he was out of the Stooges. He wanted to be a solo artist, so Bowie produced his first solo album for him, which was called The Idiot. And then he started writing songs for this. Now he's got three albums from this called the Berlin Trilogy. So it's this album, then Heroes, then an album called Lodger. This came out in 1977. Art rock, experimental rock, I guess you'd call it. You could call it ambient in places. We'll get into that for sure. And apparently
Yeah, I think we will get into that.
apparently the record label was like, "Yeah, what are you doing, man? Like, we can't release this." So he was like, "All right, whatever. I'm just gonna go tour as Iggy Pop's keyboard player." So he did that. You can find some videos of that on YouTube, and yeah, people love this album, especially. It's kind of weird because of how varied he is. Like, you will get people like the rockers generally are like David Bowie's best stuff is the like early 70s glam rock stuff. The more alt crowd likes this. The general public probably likes the more poppy 80s stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, other than that, Brian Eno, who was very influential in electronic music, had a huge part in this album. Um, and Tony Visconti is the producer. He also did some Thin Lizzy albums, including this one, Black Rose, which is cool. Pretty cool producer. Um, yeah, I mean, that's about the pretty good summary of it, I'd say. Um, do you guys want to get into the songs now?
Sure.
I reckon we should, Lee. I reckon we should.
Who wants to go first?
Not it.
I'll do it.
All right, Jack, Speed of Light.
All right, Speed of Life. I thought this one was kind of cool. It was kind of upbeat and fun. Made me want to hit the town, hit the city, strut around a little bit. Um, there, you're gonna hear me say this a lot in this album. You can definitely hear where other more, not even necessarily more popular like music has been influenced in it. You can definitely hear the influence in this. Specifically this one, the percussion and the way it sounded and was produced sounded a lot like early Gorillas, um,
Oh yeah.
like percussion did. Um, I wrote down David Bowie really was a weird motherfucker, and I didn't necessarily know what I was getting into when I wrote that down because I feel like it gets a lot weirder than this. Um, but overall, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was cool. Made me kind of, like I said, want to get out and walk around a little bit.
Yeah, this I'll go next. This kind of feels like an intro to a movie. I remember the first time I put this album on, I was like, that's interesting. This is an instrumental song, on a David Bowie album who's best known for being, a singer. Um, so yeah, I mean the guitar part, the repeating guitar part is cool. Like I honestly feel like this sets the tone pretty good because you're getting Brian Eno's like synths right off the bat. Like you hear that like one sound where it's like goes high and then to the low part. And it's definitely like weird. It's a weird thing because like the music itself is pretty normal at the beginning until you get these weird synths in there. And then you get that kind of bridge part where it gets more mellow. Um, I actually like this song a lot, Speed of Life, and I think it's a really good way of setting up the album, at least at this point in time, because this really makes you be like, I don't really know what to expect, especially like first time I listened to it, I'd only known his more glammy and poppy, funky stuff. So I was like, okay, like what is this all about here? What are we getting into?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as you with that. I did like this song. It definitely had me thinking, not listening to much David Bowie before. I was like, I I guess when I realized I was like this song's kind of short too, right? I think I was like a minute in, minute and a half in, and I was like, huh, this is an instrumental song. I was really like, I do not know what kind of music I'm about to hear on this album, but I did enjoy that song a lot.
Yeah. All right, well, we all like that one. Jack Breaking Glass.
Yeah. So, yeah, another very weird song. Again, this is just kind of a weird album. Uh, and that's not necessarily bad. Um, Especially when you're talking about David Bowie, I think it's kind of par for the course for most of his music that it's going to be a little bit weird. I thought the drum and bass were pretty cool, pretty solid in this song. And there's a cool little bass line throughout. The vocal harmonies I thought were pretty cool. Um, I thought it was kind of an interesting decision. This song faded out really fast, kind of out of nowhere. And I thought that for the song it worked. Usually I don't like when songs fade out, generally speaking, but I thought it worked for this song specifically and the tone. I think the tone is set immediately with this album. Like you pretty much immediately know what you're going to get into. Um, and so yeah, again, I thought it was I thought it was interesting for sure. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, this song is like it kind of like picks right up. Speed of Light ends and then it goes into this, which isn't really similar that much at all. And I will say that the band itself, and this took me a few listens to really kind of pick up on this. Like the band, especially the rhythm section on this album, are really good. And it's kind of got like a funky groove to most of the album when they're actually playing on it. And yeah, it is kind of weird. Like I think Bowie's a pretty good vocalist, and I feel like on this album he just was whatever detoxing off of drugs or something. Because like the vocals on this album have like a super like slacker vibe to it from him. Um, the vocal harmonies are cool. It gets into that groove, and then you hear like they turned Brian Eno's synthesizers like all the way up in the mix. Like they wanted it to be known like, hey, this guy is helping out. Like when it does that, I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about, like that random synth sound they just throw in there.
I wrote that
Um,
down on this one. I said the loud synth wave.
yeah, the chorus is pretty good. I like the lyrical content of this. Like when he's like, such a wonderful person, but you got problems. like that part, I think it sets the tone for it pretty well. Like it puts you kind of into his state, what he's singing about. And yeah, it is super short. Like it, it kind of like you want more from it, but at the same time, that's kind of what makes it interesting. Is like, okay, this is literally under two. It's a pretty catchy song, but it's only a minute
Yeah.
and 51 seconds. You're like, okay,
Mhm.
well, that was the first like song with vocals on it. You're like, all right, okay, then like, the hell is happening here? Kind of.
Um, my first thought of this one, I thought it reminded me a lot of the Talking Heads in the beginning of the song. Um, but I agree with what you just said, Liam, how this is the first song with vocals, how short it is. You're kind of just like, what the hell? And this still had me thinking, I was still like, I don't really know what I'm getting into listening to this album. But I did like this song. I thought it was good. And what was that guy's name you were talking about who's doing the like the
Yeah,
synthesizer?
so that's Brian Eno. So he was in the band Roxy Music, and then he started making like these synth instrumental albums that are pretty ahead of their time and influential. Like, because I mean, synths weren't really that big of a thing back then.
Yeah. I like it though. I think it's cool. I haven't heard a whole lot like this as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like there's nothing that really sounds like that song. I'll say that I've heard.
Yeah.
So, you know, I yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good song though. I mean, it's pretty good. I like it. And then the next song is what is it called?
What in the
One in the
What
world?
in the
World.
world? Yeah. Um, so again, there's a lot of really kind of cool sounds going on that I like. You can definitely hear a lot of it sounds like very 80s. Very I think this album so far is kind of you can make an argument it's pretty ahead of its time. Um, and I guess we'll get into that more at the end. But um, like you were saying in the last song, CPH definitely sounds very Talking Heads. The guitar in this I also kind of thought sounded a lot like Primus. You can
Oh
hear
yeah.
some Primus in there. There's also a lot of like a lot of that like weird 90s or the sound the sound that would become like known as like the weird 90s
Like Trent
sound like
Reznor-esque.
Primus. Yeah, Trent Reznor, Ween, a lot of that in this album. And this is kind of the first time that I think you hear any of that in this album. So I did like this one. Going back to David Bowie's vocals, I've never been the biggest fan of David Bowie vocally. I always thought it was kind of an acquired taste, and I don't necessarily have it. Like I think it works very well for like songs like Space Oddity and even like Heroes. I think it works well in that, but like I never thought that he was like that great. It's never. I don't think he was bad by any stretch. Um, so I kind of am not hating that the vocals are taking like a back seat to most of these songs so far. I do like the weirder sounds that he's experimenting with so far in this album. But yeah, I think this song was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it's aptly titled "What in the World" because this is a
Huh.
goofy ass song. Like,
Yeah,
first of all, it's like so you get an instrumental, which in and of itself is kind of a weird choice for a David Bowie album to open it. Then you get a song that's pretty catchy. It's still weird though, but it's so short, and then it goes right into this, and it literally sounds like a video game. That's those
It
synths.
sounds like Bubbles or something.
Yeah, it's like the band is going on this weird groove, and like the guitar part is very strange, and then you just got this like that's like Pac-Man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would tend to agree that like I think the album production wise is number one really unique, and I'll get more into that at the end. It kind of sounds like a 70s album to me, Jack, but it has like the inklings of like 80s sounds, but not even like 80s music. It's just like sounds that would happen later on. And
yeah. No, that's what I meant. It's like like
yeah,
I would never confuse this album for a Talking Heads album or or whatever, but it definitely is like, okay, you can definitely hear where they got, like, where you can definitely hear where the Talking Heads maybe got some ideas from this album.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and then the even the lyrics on this where he's like something deep inside of you, what in the world can you do? It's the whole thing is like a jumbled mess. But that being said, I kind of like it. It works for me. Um, so some of these songs kind of beat me into submission, I think, to be honest with you. Like this song was one of my least favorites on the album for sure. And then like I was kind of looking forward to like hearing that goofy intro and then it's another short song. So it's still like when you're listening to it, you're still kind of like, I still don't even know what the hell is going on here. Like you kind of at this point are like, all right, so Brian Eno is playing a big part in this, but it's still just weird, just bizarre. Colin, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, when I first heard that sound in the beginning of this song, I was definitely thrown off. Then it stops for a second, and I was like, "This song, if it didn't have that, is kind of good. It's a little jam." And then it comes back in quieter in the middle of the song, and I was like, I actually don't mind it. Like, I kind of agree with what you were saying, Liam. The more I heard it, I was like, I kind of liked it. I
Yeah,
thought it was
it's a
cool. I
unique
mean,
experience.
and the very beginning of the song, when it's the loudest, I think it's a little much. It's a little too much weirdness. But it ends up being I thought it was an all right song. There's some good guitar at the end too. He's playing for a while. There's a little solo or something.
Yep. Sound and Vision.
Yeah. So I think that this song kind of started out sounding a little bit normal, which I was like, okay, here we go. Maybe this is like something that the we can listen to that being like, what the fuck is going on? Um, but then I was proven pretty quickly wrong that it kind of quickly also devolved into what the rest of the album was. Which again, I'm not saying is necessarily a bad thing. Um, but with this one specifically, I think that it worked out pretty well. I think that there was the guitar slash like saxophone solo that happened about two-thirds throughout or through the song was really cool. Again, I think that it was a cool decision to make the vocals kind of take a back seat. Not just because I'm not the biggest fan of him vocally, but also because that's just such a random thing to like. That was not really happening too often around this time, and even still today, the vocals are such a driving, force in basically any song. Um, that I kind of like the decision to have the vocals take a back seat throughout this album. But yeah, I like this song. Kind of sounded kind of happy and like sunny, especially the guitar. Um, I thought the song was pretty good.
Yeah, so before like the first time I heard this album, I knew this song. So this is probably the most popular song on here. Um, and yeah, I love this song. I love that sunny kind of like walking down the street, smiling vibe. Maybe you and CPH go in the store, grab soda. So it's a nice day out. Um, but yeah, it is like weird how the vocals don't. The vocals are just there very briefly, but it worked like because the instrumental part is so damn good. Um, the saxophone as well, it just kind of just comes in and then it's back out. You got like some female background vocals doing the do do do's, which is cool. Like it does make you kind of wonder, like what was happening in the studio? Like was it the band writing this? Like how much? Like what was Bowie's vision here? Like what exactly was he trying to convey? Um, but nah, this is a great one. This is one of my favorite Bowie songs, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also really like this song. This is the first time I heard it, and this was spoiler alert, probably the only song on the album that I would like listen to again. Um, or I should say like add to a playlist or something. I don't know. but I like this song a lot. I thought it was like a super upbeat, happy jam. Um, Definitely makes me want to go like frolic a little bit. Maybe just doing some running around. You know what I
Playing
mean? I thought it
outside,
was a good, yeah, just having a
maybe
good
eating
old
a
time.
maybe eating an Italian ice or something. Maybe you're at the beach.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. And then the next song, Always Crashing in the Same Car, Jack. I'm curious to hear what you think about this one.
Yeah, so I kind of thought in a roundabout type of way, this kind of sounded like a continuation of the last song, just
There
more
any
like
Yes
slowed
albums on
down.
this? Sorry.
I would assume so. I would think so.
Yeah, there. I
How about
think
you never fucking
Fragile
interrupt me
is.
again after the CPH?
Yeah, how about you not
Because you
fucking
said
interrupt?
roundabout, I just made me think.
Oh my God, people say that all the time. You think it's, you know what, Jack?
You
I'm
think
so
they
sorry.
made the word roundabout
I thought they did. Where else would it have come from?
the fucking whirly fucking the road thing?
Yeah, the Whirly Road
I
thing.
I wasn't alive back then. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if the roundabouts on the road came out before or after the song. I figured
I
after.
wasn't alive back then either, brother. All right.
Yeah, me neither.
Anyway, good
Sorry.
good lord. Yeah, sounded like the continuation of the last song, except for just more slowed down. I really liked when the drums came in. It sounded very like bombastic and very, it was like a good kind of. I know it wasn't a climax, but it was, a nice like very bombastic. The guitar tones in this sounds almost exactly like the Mollusk by Ween, and that's one of my favorite albums of all time. So I thought that was nice. Again, you can really see like where I would not be surprised at all if Ween was inspired by this, if Primus was inspired by this, if a lot of the '80s sounds were inspired by this. Um, and I think that that's pretty cool because this is not at all one of David Bowie's most famous albums, not even close. Um, so you can at least I mean again I didn't read the wiki, so I don't know. But I would not be surprised at all if those bands were inspired by this. But yeah, this song was pretty cool. It was kind of it was cool like experimentation, continuation of the last song. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it pretty good.
Well, I disagree with CPH that Sound of Vision is the only song you listen to after this because I love this song and I kind of think I agree with what Jack said, but also I'm going to touch on some other things like coming right after Sound of Vision. Like this is a sad kind of melancholy kind of thing, especially like when you read about like the making of this and how he was going through a hard time with drug addiction, like and I think well, first of all, the song title "Always Crashing in the Same Car," I think that's kind of a I don't know exactly what this song about, but I imagine it's kind of a personal thing of like keep repeating the same mistakes. And I think that's kind of a cool way of putting it, to be honest. And then the song itself, the synths, the melody, everything. Love when the drums come in, Jack. I agree. I really like that chorus. Um,
Mhm.
Carlos Alomar, I think, is the guitar player on here. And yeah, he or no, who plays guitar? I'm looking at it right now. Ricky Gardner is his name. Um, yeah, that guitar part is awesome, Jack. And I like
It
that
sounds like
guitar
a
solo as
baseball
it ends.
name.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guitar work on this is great. I agree. It does have kind of a Ween kind of weird effect sound on it. But the playing is great on it. I don't know any other song that sounds like this. And I think that he perfectly captured the vibe he was looking for on this particular track. I like this song.
I like this song too. I think it's good. I think I wrote down I like the effect on the guitar. I like the drums a lot on this one too. They were like heavy. I don't know. Like in your they were just loud. On this one I thought specifically, or at least it just caught my ear. But I like this track. It's a nice cool song.
Yeah, no, I like this a lot. I'm glad you guys do too. Jack, what do you think about the next one, my friend?
Be My Wife. Um, I thought it was all right. I will say the drums I think sounded really good. The tom specifically sounded really cool and big and like there was a lot of reverb and echoey and things like that, and that was cool. The chorus is I like how the chorus kind of shakes it up a little bit. It's more of like a disco kind of funk thing going on a little bit. Um, I did say I didn't love that this was the first one to kind of feature his vocals, I would say, in a more traditional way, like production wise, where it was really like the driving force. That was more of a nitpick than anything, though. I think instrumentally it was really cool. There was a lot of really cool things going on. I will say this is the first point in the album where I kind of started to think I wanted it to be doing a little bit more thematically, like as an album as a whole. This was kind of the first time I was kind of a little like, I think I'm getting a little bored with this album, was right around this song. Um, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that feeling continued. Liam, what did you think?
Well, I think it kind of this is probably the most similar to anything he was doing before, like with that boogie woogie piano at the beginning, which I like. And this is kind of a like a classic rock song, but done through a more kind of artistic and experimental lens. Um, yeah, vocally, this is definitely his most like upfront, and the vocal harmonies are cool. The melody is cool. Yeah, no, I like this song a lot. It's definitely an earworm to me. I enjoy the simplicity of this song too. Vocally, there's not a ton going on. It's a very straightforward melody. You get his very British sounding vocals. Like I said, like I think a lot of his vocal performances on prior albums were more impressive, let's say. But kind of going for that slacker vibe, like which I think kind of works for the context of this music and what he was trying to portray. So yeah, I like this song.
Um, I wrote down for this one that it sounded very British. Um, because this is definitely the first one where he's really like you guys were saying, the vocals were the main focal point of this. Um, but I thought it was still a pretty good song. I thought there were some nice keys on it. But not one of my favorites. Didn't think it was. I thought it was just all right.
Yeah, and then next song, New Career in a New Town, which is I think actually a pretty cool name for a song.
Yeah, I think that is a cool name for a song, but I do think it kind of started out cooler than it ended up being at the end. I don't think it's totally bad, especially the middle and the end. I don't think they're totally bad, but I think it kind of just kept on going back to that like beginning kind of theme. Um, I do like that it was led by harmonica. I think that that was kind of a cool decision that they made. The bass drum sounds really cool. It's very, again, ahead of its time. That was a very 80s sounding bass drum that was kind of happening throughout. Um, it was another vocalless track, another instrumental track, but I think again going back to what I said in the last song, they're kind of I think making a lot of really cool decisions and interesting decisions, which I always am gonna appreciate, especially when it's a super famous musician like David Bowie was at this time. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're always going to pay off. And I think that they're a lot of the kind of decisions that they're making this album to, you know, with like some of the production choices. Although they're cool, I don't know if they're paying off as much as they necessarily could.
Yeah, this song, you know, as far as the instrumental tracks on this album go, this is kind of more in the vein of Speed of Light, where it's upbeat. I can kind of see myself like I don't think we've had an album yet where the song titles, you know, match the vibe as much as the music itself. Like the song titles on some of this kind of dictate how you feel about the song. Like kind of like always crashing in the same car. And then New Career in a New Town, you're listening to this and it's kind of like, okay, I can kind of see why it's called that.
I definitely
And
agree
then
with
like
that.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
like
a
and
good
then when
that's a
you
good
like
point.
learn about like, oh, he moved to Berlin to like detox off of drugs and try something different. Because I'm not sure how much you guys know about David Bowie, but before this, he was rock star, and he was also only consuming milk, cocaine, and peppers. So
What kind of
he
peppers?
probably bell peppers, I'd imagine. Because if you're only also consuming
Imagine
milk and
fucking
cocaine,
if it's a jalapeno or something, dude,
that would
you're
be
fucked.
nuts.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's what the
If you're
milk would
just
be
having
for.
milk, cocaine, and jalapenos, you're destroyed. It would have to
yeah,
be a bell
oh
pepper.
yeah, yeah. It would have to be bell peppers. So like, I kind of respect that he was like, "Yo, yo, Iggy, we gotta lock in, man. Like, we need to do something here." So I imagine like when he's making this instrumental, like I don't know whether he made the song title or idea first or made the track first, but it's like, oh, okay, I can kind of see you're like walking around exploring a new town. I do like the kind of dance kick drum on this, like Jack said, and the harmonica that David Bowie's playing is like a really cool touch. Like you wouldn't expect that. So the soundscape is generally pretty cool, and the main melody of the keyboards is pretty nice. I like that.
Yeah, I thought this one was pretty good. I definitely was not expecting any harmonica at this point on the album, but I enjoyed it. And I definitely after I listened to this song and kind of sat there and thought about it and reread the title, I was like, I could definitely see that. I could see how it would be a new career in a new town from this song. But I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed this was one of my top instrumental tracks from this album, I'd say.
Yeah, so then it moves on to side B of the album.
I didn't know this was a different side. That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, so like I feel like right when this song hits, you're like, okay, it's another instrumental song, upbeat. I can see what's going on. Then let's say you flip the side of the album, and the next song is called Warsazawa. Okay, now I don't know what the hell that means, but
Well, I
Jack,
think
go ahead.
Warsaw is like a place. I think Warsaw is a place somewhere, so it's
It
probably
is. It's in Russia,
probably yeah.
or I don't think it's a place anymore. The
Oh
Warsaw
yeah, it
Pact, like
probably
that was a
was
thing.
around
I
then
don't
though.
remember. We need to get Aiden in here. Is Aiden home, Liam?
I don't know to be honest.
He would know.
Fuck
He's a
him, fuck
nerd.
him.
He's
He
banned from
wouldn't know
this
that.
channel
All right.
though.
He is. That is true. All right. So the first thing I said about this song is now that is a Moog dummy synth. So I just wanted to wanted to point
It's
Can
the
you
that out.
capital of
elaborate on
Um,
that?
Poland, by the way, guys. It's the capital
Warsaw.
of Poland. Yeah, Warsaw.
is it still a place or is it not anymore?
Let's look it up. It seems like it's a place. Yeah,
All right, now look
towns
up
generally
what
don't
was
Okay.
just go away.
the Warsaw Pact. I mean, towns were definitely just going away back in World War II, dude.
Yeah, I'm about to say towns do
It's a
go
Soviet-led
away
mutual
back then.
defense treaty and military alliance between the Soviet Union and seven Eastern European communist states. That's the Warsaw Pact.
Okay.
All right.
I think we were
All right.
like kind
So
of homies with them during World War II. I don't think they liked the
Do
Nazis
you think
either.
that, Colin? Do you
Pretty
think
sure.
that
they
do you think
invaded
that
Poland, the Nazis did.
do you
So
think that they would have appreciated you cutting off
yeah, I
Jack
don't think they were
constantly?
crazy about the Nazis. Yeah, dude, you're so rude to me.
And I do it again.
Shut up, CPH. Look at this.
Stop, stop. You're burning me. Stop, stop.
What if we watch Jack
Exactly.
just completely light his house on fire?
I probably would have been like
That-
this. Oh no. Let me drive to BWI and catch a flight immediately.
and then you
That's what
put it
I'd say.
out. You could be here by today. All right, all right, all right. Warsaw's Warsaw. All right. I
Warsaw?
think that it sounded a lot like a movie soundtrack.
I
Um,
agree.
usually I like this type of thing. But when I was writing my like reviews of all this, I usually sit down and like listen to it and kind of try and dissect it a little bit. And this is not at all the song to do that with. I was just bored by the end of it. It was like it's like 6.5 minutes of like ambient, stuff. It's like the perfect song to like try and go to sleep to, I feel like. Or like, if you're like are like working out in the yard or something, maybe throw it on and just have it on the background, just kind of like have some noise going. But maybe I'm just brain rotted. I don't know. Um, but I think that 6 minutes for this song was way too long. You could have very easily cut it in half. Um, and I think that it would have benefited from that. Um, so yeah, I wasn't really crazy about the song at all.
Now, Jack, I don't think you're completely brain rotted because I agree with a lot of what you said. Now, yes, this does sound like it would be a soundtrack song. Absolutely. And I think he was in a movie before this, and I think he wanted to do the soundtrack for it, and I they told him no. And I think that is what a lot of this comes from. So
That makes sense. That makes a lot of
it
sense.
is, dude, it does test your patience though, this one. I'll say it. You're totally ready to move on to the next song by this. And I, yeah, I mean it's like the feeling of this, I don't really it's just kind of like ambient. It doesn't really express like a ton of emotion until the end of the song, and then he's got like he's doing this like chanting thing, like and it it does. I guess it sounds like I'm literally like pulling it up and listening to it right now. Like I'm trying to. It's like mythical, like almost like you're walking through the mountains maybe, and then you get to the top of the mountain and there's a cult there. Like at the end, it does take a change
Yeah.
to what the vocals, and it's like, oh, this is weird. Like this could be in an A24 movie. You know what I mean?
I
Like
was thinking
Midsummer
like
or
Lord of
something
the
like
Oh,
that.
for
Rings.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to that's the vibe I get. Like I'm trekking through the mountains and then I see a cult and like I'm like, oh shit, this is weird.
You're like, oh
I'm probably
shit.
gonna join it
Yeah.
because I don't want to die. But
Yeah.
for David Bowie to make something like that, because he's by all means, intents and purposes, a pop artist through most of his career, is impressive for like the vision of that. I
Oh,
do
for
I do
sure.
respect.
Yeah,
I do
absolutely.
respect. Colin?
Yeah, this song is definitely not one of my favorites. I do agree with what you guys just said. I do respect this song from someone like David Bowie. But when I was listening to this, my most recent time, because I hadn't listened to the album for like a week, and then I listened to it again like yesterday or the day before. And I was like, man, is this song still going on? And I look, and I was like 3 minutes in, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. I was just like, I don't even want to listen to this anymore. It's just
Yeah.
not not really the direction I would have hoped he would have gone, I guess.
And then the good news is though, the song ends and then you're like, all right, on to the next one. Then you get the song Art Decade, Jack.
Yeah, kind of again, more of the same. It sounds like Tangerine Dream a lot to me. And
Yeah,
again,
that was
I
the
like Tangerine
influence.
Dream. Yeah, for sure. I like Tangerine Dream, but like this is just not. I feel like I'm not doing myself or the album any favors by trying to like dissect it and review it. Like that is the like my dad. I remember he said when he was in like high school and college and stuff, he would listen to Tangerine Dream a lot while studying, just because he wanted to like have some background music. But you can't really listen to like music with words when you're like studying,
You're
so he
not gonna
just put
listen
on
to Rush,
Tangerine
you know?
Dream. Exactly. And he's
Aiden
like
would.
and he was Aiden Wood, yeah, right. And he was like, it was perfect because it was just like, and then he was like, I got into Tangerine Dream, and that's like the perfect time to listen to Tangerine Dream, and I feel like this type of music, where it's like just kind of put it on the background, movie soundtrack. It makes a lot of sense if this was an X movie soundtrack, or like a scrap movie soundtrack, because he's really in the weeds here with the synthesizers and sequencers and everything like that. But yeah, it was just like I just got kind of bored while like just sitting there and listening to it.
Yeah. Like For this one, it is this one. I think there's a little more going on here. Like you have these like freaky noises on it. Again, like the song title fits it perfectly. Um, and this one has kind of a hook to it almost. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
do, 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 do. This one kind of makes me feel like I'm scrolling through like an ancient library that I stumbled upon. And I'm like, oh wow, what is all of this? Like this isn't as like spooky sounding. It's more like peculiar, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have much to add off of what you guys said. This one was, again, not one of my favorites. I definitely was going into this song, I was like, all right, that long ass instrumental song's over. Hopefully we'll get a nice good song here. And then I was hit with this and was just like, ah, damn it. But it's still, it's not even bad. It's just like I didn't really want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like Jack was saying, there's no point trying to like review it. It's just that's just the kind of thing you just listen to. I don't know. It's
right.
just the
Yeah.
background.
And then you're like, all right, well,
Let's give it
that
another
was
shot.
interesting. Let's give it another shot. Then you get Weeping Wall, Jack.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of these three songs for sure. These last three have been probably the most experimental stuff I've heard from like a absolutely huge rock star, like legendary rock star. I'm trying to
I
think of
definitely agree. I really was not expecting any of this.
yeah. And again, now that Liam says it's a scrap movie soundtrack, it makes a lot of sense. But it was just dragging me through the mud here. Like
I
I was
completely
kind of like
agree.
I was kind of like, dude, what are we doing? Um, like if I was just like reading something or doing anything else, it would be so much more enjoyable. But it's just not the type of thing that you kind of want to sit down and listen to, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you just said there.
Yeah, I mean, and
Thank
I
you,
don't know
Lee.
if
Thank you.
all of it was for the movie soundtrack, but I think the idea of it was, and like Jack said, like analyzing this stuff is like just kind of like it's hard. It's hard, like because we're not used to doing stuff like this. And yeah, actually, for like not even just a famous rock star, but like a fucking legend. He is legendary. Like, dude, I remember when David
He's
Bowie died.
huge. Yeah,
Like
he
There
is
was like
gold
absolutely
star
parades
huge.
level.
in the street. He was like there. People were like
Yeah,
parading in the street for him.
Wasn't Grandma really into David Bowie?
Yeah, I mean, dudes, like this thing about David Bowie is like, see, like everyone kind of likes David Bowie a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he's got so
Yeah.
many classic songs.
yeah.
Really, none of them are on this album, but like this one is this is kind of different. You get this little like bell kind of things, and there's like sniffling going on. Like it's called Weeping Wise. I don't even. This one is like another one, weird and mythical kind of. Um, I don't even really know how to describe it. It's just weird. It's This one is kind of like more like it. It's got the alien sounds towards the end. I'm trying to think of what this sounds like to me. Like maybe you're like in a cave. It sounds like video game music. Okay, let's be honest here. It sounds like video game music, like
Mhm.
90s, early
Yeah, but
2000s
not even
video
like
games.
the video game music I'd want to listen to. Like if I want to listen to video game music, then I'd listen to like Cassiopeia. That's the video game music I want to hear.
Right, but if this was in a video
Or
game,
even like
this
the
would be
fucking
really good.
Minecraft soundtrack, dude.
That's true. What's
Yeah,
that
Well,
fella's
I
name?
think if this was in
yeah,
a
C418?
that
video
is.
game, you would be like, this is really
Yeah,
good video
C418.
game music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
This
true.
is kind of like
Well,
you're in
you
a
know
cave
that
and there's
like the ambient music of Grand Theft Auto 5 was done by Tangerine Dream, and I love that. Like the ambient soundtrack on GTA 5 is really good.
that's like when you're doing levels and stuff.
Yeah, like the pause menu and like when you're doing levels and stuff, and like you can't turn on the radio.
Yeah, like this one kind of sounds like you're in a video game level and you're like maybe in a cave and there's water dripping, maybe. Uh, and maybe there's like only one light.
It's a water
It's
level.
kind of dark. Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. I'll say that. Colin, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool song, I guess, but it's just again, I just don't really want to be hearing it. And at this point, I'm just like, I'm half skimming through. I'm just like, all right, is there anything like super noticeable about this song? And I'm just like, not really.
And then the final track is Subterraneans.
Okay, so I know that I just spent the last three songs kind of shitting on all of them. I actually didn't hate this song. I kind of like this song because there's like a saxophone that kind of comes in halfway through, and that was like, all right, that shit was awesome. Um, and I also kind of came to the realization around here where this, like the B side of this album, would be perfect if I was drunk. If I was like hammered, the B side of this album would be that would be unfucking believable. So I didn't get drunk, but I was like, all right, no, this would be really cool if I was just like 5, 6 shots deep or something.
This one,
Um,
this one, sorry to
very
interrupt
much
you,
like,
Jack. This one I think gives me more of the vibes of like mushrooms.
Yeah, this is an interesting
well,
take from me,
yeah, I mean,
but I would like it.
I can understand why mushrooms are like high on weed or something like that would be cool, but I don't partake in those, so I kind of have to say drunk. And also like when you're drunk, you very much can get into like you can fucking listen to Motley Crue and Van Halen and have a great time, but you also can listen to like Pink Floyd and like this stuff and just be like, whoa, like just fucking veg out.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Um, I like the kind of like low, like almost like moaning vocal. David Bowie does do like that, like low, like whoa vocal pretty well. Like Man Who Sold the World comes to mind. That is really cool. Like the ending of that. He does that here, and that was pretty cool. So I actually didn't hate this song. This was definitely my favorite song on the B side of the album. Um, and I also came to the realization that if I was like in a vegetative state, with whatever inhibition you choose, this album automatically jumps up like 3 points probably in the overall score. But I was sober and analyzing it, so I didn't enjoy it as much as I could
Yeah, Jack, I kind of agree with you. Like this one starts, there's a lot more, there's that kind of like sub bass sound going on, which I think sonically is makes it pleasing to listen to. And it's another long one, but the saxophone when that comes in, this one has a bit more return on your investment in listening to it. You know what I mean? Like
have.
it
Yeah.
starts off real ambient, then you get the saxophone and the kind of chanting. And this is my favorite on side B. Um, yeah, it's cool. And it kind of like by the end of it, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of glad to listen to it. Like this kind of is a good way to close this chapter of a David Bowie album of like, okay, this makes sense now. I understand this more. I'm glad this wasn't just kind of another um it's just completely ambient one. I mean, it is, but there's more changes going on throughout, and it kind of makes you believe more that like he wasn't just throwing this on. Maybe there's an underlying purpose to the second half of the album. Um, so yeah, I actually like Subterranean a good bit. Colin?
Yeah, I thought this one was pretty good. This one's definitely my favorite on side B too. I think this one kind of makes me think I'm like maybe deep sea diving and I'm like going through some dark caves with some weird kind of fish and creatures you've never seen before. Kind of like
Maybe
the
an
video game,
anglerfish.
maybe. Kind of like the game Subnautica. If you've ever seen that, it makes me feel like I'm playing Subnautica. Like I'm just there's like fish with one eye and they're looking at me and I'm just like, what is going on?
That's a great way of
That's what this
describing it.
Yeah, that's how this song makes me feel. But I don't mind
Yeah,
it. I think it's kind of it's cool.
the song makes me feel like maybe I found what I was looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
this is like
yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, we made it. And not in a bad way either. Not like fuck hell, this is over with. I mean, I like trying to listen to new stuff, and I didn't hate the second half of this at all.
No,
But
me neither.
I guess we should get into like, as Colin, your first David Bowie album, and Jack, maybe yours too. Even though Jack, I'd be kind of surprised if you haven't heard Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars before.
I was say I've heard Ziggy Stardust before.
Completely, completely different vibe. You wouldn't even guess it's the same person. But
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give that a
Colin,
listen at some point soon.
yeah, well, that's definitely on here. This is
Yeah, I was gonna
definitely
say.
this is definitely not the only David Bowie album we'll be talking about on here. But as a first listen to David Bowie, Colin, you actually had said to me like you were like, I always felt like I should get into him, but I never really listened to him before. And correct me if I'm wrong, but what does this make you feel about him as an artist? Do you want to check
Well,
out more after this? Like, are you intrigued?
I mean, I'd say yes and no. And I mean, I still, all the popular songs, none of, like you were saying earlier, all the popular songs I know aren't on this album. So this is kind of just like a random poll, in my opinion, for an album. I don't really know how popular this album is, like in comparison, like to the rest of his stuff. But going into it, I kind of knew I was like, all right, there's a chance this may be very different. I also kind of knew just that he has been making music or was making music for a long time and that he would make a lot of different kinds of music. I mean, you look at him, you kind of assume he's experimental. So I was like, all right, this might be different. This might not be like any of his other stuff. So I still would go back and listen to his other albums.
What do you think, Mr. Jump?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, CPH. You know pretty quickly that this is going to be a very different uh David Bowie album. Even if you never really have heard an entire David Bowie album before, even if you have just heard the hits, you pretty much know immediately this is going to be different. I think that this very clearly was like David Bowie's album he made for himself. Like,
I could see that.
like I said, I didn't read the wiki at all, and I just kind of knew immediately. Like he probably didn't care at all what the public reception to this was. This probably was very much for him. Um, I think I always respect when artists take big swings that are different from their traditional sound, especially when it's an artist as big as David Bowie, who was pretty much smack dab in the middle of like his maybe on the tail end of like his like greatest run commercially. I mean, like this was 1977, so this was within 10 years of all of his biggest hits.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and he made this album, which was kind of very different, very risky. So I do appreciate that, but that doesn't necessarily mean I like it. I think I like the idea of this album a lot more than I like the album itself. Um, I I also kind of think that whatever the opposite of it's greater than the sum of its parts is, I think it kind of describes this album. It's kind of lesser than the sum of its parts. I think thematically, I was kind of wanting more from it. Um, you can definitely hear a lot of later artists get inspired from this. Like I said, gorillas. There's some gorillas in there. There's a lot of Ween in there. There's some Talking Heads in there. Kind of strikes me as one of those like your favorite artist's favorite album. Um, but yeah, it didn't necessarily do too much for me. I probably am not going to listen to it again. If I do, I'd have to be in a very specific headspace, and even then, I'm probably going to skip around a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, like I kind of hinted to at the beginning of this video, is like I went through it. Like he is still probably one of my favorite artists ever, and I went from Space Oddity, all the way up to Let's Dance. And that's a lot of albums, but like they all had something to offer. So before this, like I said, he had the glam era, and then he had the more like kind of funk R&B era. And then I got to this, and this is obviously an iconic album. And the album cover alone, I mean, is pretty damn iconic. But I remember
Mhm.
listening to it the first time, like years ago, and being like, what is this? Like, why do people like this so much? Like, he's got such better stuff. And I think maybe that's kind of the genius of David Bowie is like he has stuff for all different people, like even like more people who aren't into classic rock and maybe into more like experimental stuff. Like this would be the album for you. And I think I could appreciate it more now than I did back then. Like, and I kind of feel like this album just kind of happened. And I think I've decided that I don't think there really was a vision and it just kind of happened. You know what I mean? Like, I think he was just trying new things.
Yeah.
He was going through a weird part of his life. And this is just the product of that. And I think that's kind of the genius of this album in some senses is like for him to just kind of put a band together, work with Brian Eno, and come out with this album where there's nothing I've heard like it. I mean, there's definitely a lot of, like you said, Tangerine Dream in there and Kraftwerk, who are probably one of the most ahead of their time bands ever, if you know who they are, because they pretty much
Hmm.
invented electronic music. So like, and they were a German band, so I think that had a lot to do with it. This is like part of the Berlin trilogy of albums he did. Whether I would listen to it again, yeah, I mean, I probably will just because I like David Bowie a lot, but it's not my favorite David Bowie album. And he made some albums after this kind of in the same vein. And I do think this is my favorite of those three albums he did in Berlin. Like Heroes and Lodger came after this. And then he made an album called Scary Monsters. And this was kind of like this sound, but a poppier direction. And that one's probably my favorite, like from his, like kind of like experimental era. Then he became probably more popular than he ever was. So he made Let's Dance, which is like, it's just such a crazy arc he went on. And then like even into the
Yeah.
90s, he was like doing albums with Trent Reznor, and he was just so like it's weird, like because like he was always trying new things, but he never lost his identity, which I can really respect. You know what I mean? Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, Colin, what's your overall kind of thoughts about this, man?
Yeah, I think this is overall, I think it's a cool album. Like I definitely could see, I think you had said this, Liam, where um this album, or it might have been Jack, I don't know. One of you said something along the lines of like this album was for himself. He didn't care about really how anybody had thought of it or what any opinions were going to be on it. Um And I get that and I respect that a lot, but it's definitely not an album that I'd go back and listen to, really. I mean, it's got good songs on it. It definitely does. All the songs with the lyrics, with David Bowie singing, I think are all pretty good songs. Um, but it's just, I don't know. It's just a little strange. It's just not
Yeah.
really my cup of tea.
So my favorite song on here is Always Crashing in the Same Car. Genuinely top three Bowie song for me. I really like that song. And least favorite has got to be Worth the Zawa. Not because I think it's bad, just because it is a bit exhausting. You know.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I would say my favorite song, honestly, is probably Subterraneans. I also
That's a
do
crazy
like
pick.
Always Crashing in the Car. I said I also do like Always Crashing in the Same Car, but Subterraneans I feel like would be I said Subterraneans with the caveat of you have to be doing something else while you're listening to it.
Okay.
Then I could think like you have to be like in a specific, like playing Subnautica or something.
Yeah.
Least favorite song probably Warsaw for the same reason as Liam.
Yeah, that's also my least favorite song for the same reason. It's I was listening to it and I was just like, dude, come on. How much left? Um, my
He was
favorite song
only
is
halfway
is
done.
probably yeah. My favorite song is definitely Sound and Vision. Yeah, the first time I heard Warzawa, because I didn't know how long it was. and I saw that I was like 2 minutes in or something, and I was like, oh, it's almost done, right? And I looked on my phone and I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Dude, the
That's
worst
not a
experience I
pleasant,
had
pleasant
of
experience.
that on this channel is we were doing the Ween album rankings and on
Oh God,
what's that one fucking Pure Guava. I'm gonna look it up right
all
now.
of God we sing, all of the
Well,
pod.
yeah, so like I had listened to those three albums and I'm already just getting annoyed, to be honest with you. And then there's a song called Morning Glory on there, and it just
Hmm.
starts with like a distorted, like horrible sounding voice. And I was like, you have to be fucking kidding me. So I'm like, it hasn't even started yet. And I'm like, is this gonna be like ear rape for 5 minutes? And it absolutely was. But
Yep,
as far as like whether I think this is overrated, underrated, or properly rated, I think it's properly rated because like although it's not my go-to David Bowie, I think it's undeniable how important this was to, you know, major artists getting into more experimental waters and just kind of electronic and honestly alternative music in general. Um, and then like Jack mentioned the drums a lot on this album. Like apparently like the drum sound was like very sought after, like from producers. They really like that drum sound. They put like a harmonizer on the snare, so like this snare sound amongst producers is very iconic. So I think it's properly rated.
I can believe that. Yeah. I think this album is properly rated also mainly because you never really hear about it among like David Bowie's discography. I mean, you do every now and then, but like nowhere near as much as like Heroes or Ziggy Stardust or Space Oddity or anything like that. Um, so I do think it's probably properly rated, mainly because a lot of people don't necessarily talk about it. And there is one thing that I kind of want to just at least bring up. You know, being having a diet that consists of cocaine, milk, and peppers, whether it be bell pepper or jalapeno, and then moving to Berlin and making these albums, it's just something Taylor Swift never could do. And I'm kind of tired that she keeps on saying that she can and that she's going to for her next arc because she's never going to be able to do it. She never can do it. And even if she tried to do it, she would fail so miserably. And it just really makes me mad that she's making that
She would probably say the bell peppers are too spicy or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
argument.
Jack, I'm
Yeah.
so glad you
Oh,
brought that up because
100%.
we were all thinking that. We
Yeah,
Yeah.
were
I'd
all
heard
And I,
about
thinking
you
that
that.
know, I
recently
know
and I
that
was pissed off.
Yeah.
I know I was pissed off too. And it's something that I just had, as a good man of faith, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't bring it up.
Yeah. Colin, how would you what do you think? Is this properly rated or do you have a differing
I
opinion?
would say this album is properly rated just because of I feel like you can hear the other bands like you guys were talking about a lot, and it kind of made me realize more and more. I'd mentioned the Talking Heads in the beginning, but there's definitely you can hear a lot of other bands in this album. And for that reason, I say it's properly rated. Because I mean, clearly it's getting what it's deserving.
Yeah, I kind of like so for my final rating, like I kind of struggled between how much do I respect this versus how much do I enjoy this? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
look, I'll be real with you. If side B didn't exist, we'd be looking at like a 9 out of 10 for me because a lot of those songs I really grew to enjoy a lot. But dude, side B is just kind of a chore from a listening perspective. Like they're like yeah, if you're high, maybe it would be amazing, but or drunk or whatever. But just like when you're listening to this like 5 times in a row, it's like, bruh, like I get it. Especially after the first listen, the first listen, you're like, oh, okay, wow, I was not expecting that. And then the
Yeah.
other listens, you're like looking for something to latch on to even remember the song. So that being said, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's no doubt to me a good album, and there's a lot I enjoy from it. Not my favorite David Bowie album. It definitely does not get mentioned like some of his other ones because there being no hits on it, but there are like that crowd of people where this is their favorite David Bowie album, and to that, I am not one of those people.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I kind of agree with basically everything you said there, Lee. I think I like side A a little bit less than you did. And like side B just a little bit more maybe than you did. But overall, I think I liked it. Um, not that much, not as much. And I do like how you said you kind of wrestle with how much you like it versus how much you respect it. And that being said, I gave it a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's certainly not an album I'm going to listen to again. And even if I do, I'm probably going to listen to just specific parts in it. And I have to be in a very specific headspace to do that. So yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, I feel like all the other albums I rank it purely off how much I enjoy it. And if I'm ranking this album how much I enjoyed it, I'd say a 6. I'd say there's more highs than lows. It's definitely not an average album by any stretch of the mean. It has some really good stuff, but it also has some stuff that I would not care if I never heard again.
Yeah. Well, that's
All
David
right.
Bowie Low. Yeah, this was probably the most challenging listen we've done so far,
Yeah,
and maybe
I'd
our
agree with that.
lowest. This might be our lowest overall rating of an album so far.
Yeah,
To be
I
honest
feel
with
like
you,
there was an
probably
album that Jack really didn't like, or which one
the
was that? The
Pixies
Pixies
album,
Doolittle.
album?
Doolittle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of want to
I
start
wasn't
averaging the
crazy about
scores of
that.
these and see and make like a master
What
list
we
of like
got?
what we collectively like the most.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So this would probably be like maybe I'll do that today.
You
But
should figure out how to get it in an Excel chart or something, so then it also has like our top three albums in a separate area.
yeah.
That's
So
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
yeah. So I will say like from a perspective of Colin, like I do think it's kind of cool this was the first David Bowie album we got.
That is
You know
kind
what
of
I
Yeah.
cool.
mean? Yeah. But next album is probably going to be pretty different vibe, although same era. We got Parallel Lines by Blondie. So,
Okay.
Wow, interesting.
you
All
know,
right.
first female artist, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Female
so
led. Yeah.
female led, yeah. Um, so yeah, tune in next time. You guys got anything else to say?
Nope.
No, man. Peace.
All right. Peace.